Well, I love this. Thank you. First and foremost, we love your leaders. Thank you for the invite. Honestly, what a special invite to get from, Vinny Papalardo. It's so funny when he was calling my husband, Tracy saw the phone. He's like, Vinny's calling me. And we're both like, are we in trouble? Are we in trouble? Dad's calling. Are we in trouble? But anyway, what an honor it is to be with all of you today. And we're going to talk a lot about our story. We're going to talk a lot about our overcoming, and we're going to talk a lot about you and what it's going to take to help you, because that is it, right? Congratulations to Jackie and Luis, of course. Honestly, it's so neat to witness someone else going diamond. And it's like I was saying earlier at the earlier meeting and I was talking about the best day, one of the very, very best days of our life is when we went diamond. And I get emotional thinking about it because at the time we had our 3 little kids, we got to raise their hands on stage, and it was that dream come true for sure. But I wanted to talk and speak to all of you about how to be a fighter, because you're fighters, right? Like you want this. Like you want this so bad. Is it just like ache in your soul? I know for me, every single time I went to a function, I would just be so emotional because I wanted it so badly. I wanted to be out of debt. I wanted the respect of the men and women that I respected. Oh, there, I can see you all over there. I might just speak to you because I can actually see your faces. And I'm like, it's so foggy, but honestly, we wanted the respect of the men and women that we respected. And some of you know our story and some of you don't know our story, but I will tell you this, it has been one of the greatest journeys ever. Don't skip over the good stuff, even though you're going through the hard stuff. It is the good stuff. And I will tell you this, once Tracy and I caught the vision, it was just game over. We got tight. We got tight in our marriage. We got tight in our systems. We got tight in our health. And every decision, whether you think this is radical or not, but I believe it takes a radical mindset. And again, our story is, coming out of the NFL. I always say we came out of the NFL just like we had a baby. When we came out of the NFL, we weren't necessarily looking for opportunity. We thought we had it all figured out. No one has ever approached us with anything different than the plan that we had in place. And thank goodness, every single one of you met your teammates, you met your upline through the craziest of circumstances, didn't you? I mean, isn't it just wild, the circumstances, how you met your upline? Tracy and I were downtown Seattle. We had a brand new baby boy. He just retired from the NFL, and we took a whole year off. And he was going to rest his body. Thank goodness we steward our money well, and we had money in the bank. We had a beautiful home when we had a brand new, beautiful son. And Tracy played all 6 years. Our company is called Play Injured for a reason. I mean, every year he got so injured, he had to sign a new contract, and he had to prove himself that he was worthy of making that team. And so we took that time off, and we're downtown Seattle, and we meet our upline. We were asking for directions. Hey, do you know where? He's like, yeah, it's just down the street. Well, we went, and there was that guy. So at any rate, fast forward, we didn't start off guns a-blazing by any means. We had to pretty much hit rock bottom before we just had to wake up. Now, some of you are comfortable, and we were comfortable, and you have to be, you just have to, I don't wish upon anyone to hit rock bottom, but it was good for us. We needed to hit that place. At that time, we had another baby on the way. A stock market hit. We lost everything. And we moved out of that beautiful home. We sold our beautiful cars. I was talking earlier to the team that I would exchange our furniture for babysitting so I can go to a function like this. I'm like, you can have this couch if you can babysit my kids for the weekend for the function. And, we just did whatever we took because we had the vision. We wanted to be out of debt. We wanted to have that respect. We wanted to be proud of ourselves. First and foremost, congratulations for being here. You sacrificed. But it's not for nothing, right? I know that's not grammatically correct, but do you ever say this cannot be not for nothing? You leave your kids, you put gas in your car, you go on airplanes serving and helping other people to have this common dream. And I would say to Tracy, it's not for nothing because I finally just wanted to say yes. If you don't have a dream, can you just put the word yes on your dream board? Because we lived a no life. There was a time we lived a yes life and we were starting to live a no life. No, we don't have time. No, we don't have money. No, we don't have the energy. No, we don't have the coaching. We don't have that. And everything was no. And I remember our upline said, put something on a dream board and put it on your refrigerator and put it on a dream board. And Tracy's like, what if our upline walks in and we don't have any pictures on our fridge or on a dream board? I'm like, I don't know how to dream. I don't know what I want. I just want peace, right? I want self-respect. I'm just tired of living this way. And I didn't know how to put it on a board. And so one day I said, I got it. And I found this picture of a man with his son. And he was laying on a hammock. And it was in a magazine. And it was just peace. He was resting. He had green grass and he had a dog. And I just thought, that's what I want. That's the dream, just that peace, being with our family. And I put the word yes. That's the only 2 dreams I needed, is to say yes. And by that time, we had now 3 kids and we were living in this little apartment, but man, we were on fire. You guys, this is so good for you. It's so good. It's good for your kids, right? You teach your kids that. It's so good for you to go through those really, really tough times. And we went through that with our son. He was diagnosed with an incurable kidney disease. We had the family meeting. I hope you have your family meetings with your kids and they're catching the vision and it's all about that. And as soon as we're like, yes, as a family, these are the Eatons, right? Do this. This is who we are. And we wrote our name like the Eatons. What do we stand for, right? We do hard things. No one in our presence will ever feel alone. People will feel good about themselves, better about themselves when they leave us than when they came. And we talked about the family vision and what it meant. And we, joined arms. And literally within a week, we got a call from Children's Hospital saying our son's test results did not come back good. And he would need a kidney disease or a kidney transplant every 4, 5, 6 years. I'm like, how is that sustainable? He was 10 years old. How is that possible? And I just told Tracy, I said, I'm out. This is a good place to rest for now. And I'm so grateful that my husband had the vision, right? You had the vision. And he just said, babe, no, we do hard things. We finish things. We're going to finish it. And I just trusted him. Trust yourself. Finish it, guys. Ladies, gentlemen, finish it. And we did. And it was a ride. Oh my gosh, you guys, the hospital visits, all the things that, we just did it all. It was chaotic and it was crazy, but it was the best. It's our fondest memories. And when we raised those 3 precious kids' hands on stage, now it is magical. If you have children and you don't have a dream, it was the dream. We looked into their eyes every night when we left them, and it's not easy leaving your kids. I know. We built it to that level. I know what it feels like to leave your kids. I know what it feels like to have your family members talk behind your back. And I'll go into that a little bit as well. We have been through it all, but it's so good. It is so, so good. And so when our kids' hands were raised on stage and they had an opportunity to talk, every single one of our kids thanked our son, that because he went through so much and we were just a family. Do you have that? Is that in your DNA, in your household? We're a team, we're tight, right? We're going to do whatever it takes, not for nothing, just for a season. You guys, this is not forever. It doesn't have to be forever. Would you put your head down? You're like, you know what? This is not forever. I don't know what God's timing is going to be, but I know it's going to be awesome. And having that faith. And then we went diamond and it was just, uphill from there. But at the same time, we're only human too. By the way, it doesn't mean life doesn't hit you, right? We know that. And I want to prepare you that at times life does hit you, but who are you in those times? And Tracy and I had to get really tight in our marriage and really tight in our values and really tight in our spiritual life. And some of you know, and some of you already came up to us and prayed for us this last year that my husband was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma last year. Absolutely a shock, an absolute shock. And I am like, here's the only reason I'm telling you is here's what I know. First of all, I'm so glad we had an epic team that loved on us and we loved them. I'm glad for people like you. Like, we're a family, aren't we, guys and gals? We're a family, right? I mean, all your leaders, we love them so much. And people were praying for us, and Tracy was so strong through all that. I was not as strong as him. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I could tell you I was strong, but it was tough for me. It was hard to watch watch him go through, he went through, but he had the mindset. And you know what? I wasn't surprised. And I always tell him, you just make everybody look bad. You just make everybody look bad because he's just a rock star. And I watched him go through that. And because we made a decision that was our identity, that we do hard things. God is not doing this to us. God is doing this for us, right? These are mantras that we've had along the way. And I believe the only way you have these deep rooted mantras is because you live it out. And you have these incredible memories and you're just so proud of yourself. And I was talking today at the pool with a bunch of you who were there. Thank you for sweating with me besides the pool. That was glorious. I mean, I love your hunger. I love your hunger. Your leaders have created a culture of hunger. It is so obvious. I love that you talk about where you are now and where you're going, like immediately. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm this in the business, but I'm going to be this by this date. Who taught you that? That is so epic. That's incredible. That is so incredible. But I talked about the vision and the dream, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit. So, when they talk about the dream, I will say this. Like I said, I had a really hard time. And Tracy when we started dating, this was, oh my gosh, we've been married 31, almost 32 years. We've been in business together. I know, right? We like each other too. Isn't that great? I mean, we still like each other a lot. There's something to be said about growing older together. I will say this. And on top of it, in this business together, almost our entire marriage has been around this business. We were 3 years married when we started our business. So all the principles that we learned were people from like you and the system, and we're just so grateful. But I remember when Tracy and I were first dating, he was playing for the Arizona Cardinals at the time, and I was a school teacher. And at night, I was a cocktail waitress. And that's where I met my husband when he told me I had the sexiest eyebrow he has ever seen. First of all, eyebrow, no plural. I had a problem. It's okay. Money can buy a lot of things. I have 2 now. So some of you are like, oh, dream, check. I'm not high maintenance. I'm highly maintained. So at any rate, hey. So when we were dating, and we got married really quickly. We got engaged. We got married really quickly. And I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So shout out to all you guys. Yeah, my whole family. I know, right? My whole family still lives there. And, Tracy's from the Northwest. 2 totally different worlds. Let me tell you, I'll finish off with this. All the people that broke my heart. And, do you have people that broke your heart in this business, right? They said, behind closed doors, they talk about you, or, our family wasn't positive about what we were doing because I wasn't visiting them as much. And because we had a vision, we were just hair on fire and we just had this dream. And it's not that my family wasn't included, but we just couldn't spend the time because we had this, it was just laser focused. And this past summer, we served our family. We had our friends over. It's our happiest place on earth. And I told this whole summer, and I told Tracy, I said, gosh, babe, trust me, these people broke my heart. And Tracy would, in his mind, it would make him so upset, like internally. And in my heart, I would say, but someday I know when we finish this, we're going to bless you somehow, some way. And it fed my soul. It broke my heart, but it fed our soul. And this last summer we had, I don't know, all the family members come in and out. And we loved on them. We made them feel like $1 million. We had everything just perfect, just like you're taught, right? We serve. And when everybody left, they had the greatest time on earth. And I was like, that is why we built it. That is why we built it, to just love on our family, to prove them wrong, just a little, but really to love on them and to finish. Here's the thing. I think all of you have that. Somebody in your family, your closest friend, they don't believe in your dream or whatever that is. You know what? If you don't finish it, they're right. That is just the truth. If you don't finish it, they were right. So what are you going to do, my friends? You're going to finish it. I know you will. You have the greatest team. You have an awesome system. There's no reason. All you have to do is put the work in, coach really tight. All the nonsense doesn't mean anything. right? You know that we're no drama, we're forgiving, we're going to fix things with our upline and our team, whatever that is. It's so you can just run. And that's our wish for you. So when you walk out of this weekend, you're going to feel empowered. You're going to have confidence, and you're going to finish what you started and what God put on your heart. We love you. Thank you for the invite. God bless you. And here's my husband, Tracy.
All right. Good. Hello. Yeah, you're not going to clap now. I know that. The best of the best, you just heard from her. You always wait to the end for that. So who's ready to go to the next level? This business, most people complicate it. I want you to stop complicating it. Don't make this harder than it really is. It's a simple concept. People are difficult, I know that, but it's a simple concept. And you've got to make sure that you're going to be that person that sticks. Because I'm going to talk to you tonight about what it takes. And really, I'm going to talk to you what's great about these conferences, the system that you're a part of. It allows you to lift all the important areas of your life. That's the beauty of this business. It's not just transactional, it's relational. And we are into people. And people are the greatest asset in the world. And they are great assets to build. And that's what we do. One of the noblest things you'll do with your life is lift people out of oppression, is help people get out of their depressed state, their anxiety, start teaching them to follow through. If you want to start helping out your mental health, then commit to things and follow through without quitting. Then feed your brain good information. Then feed your body good information. Move your body. Be consistent. We know that these little things are the things that add up to great lives. So many people today in our environment, in our world today, we get around this world and we want get rich quick. We want the next French toast coin or whatever else is next, and some get rich thing. And you know what? This is about people. It's about getting rooted and creating something so foundational. And you see it right in front of your face with some of the greatest people in the world that I know. And that's, and I just talk about Vinny and Dana. They are some of the most amazing father and mother power, most well-respected people in the whole world of Amway. And to us, as Kimberly was right, I saw that phone call and my heart skipped a beat because of being around people like that. You have the best of the best, and hopefully you honor that, and you honor that with getting out of your comfort zone. Because I want to talk about excellence. I want to talk about raising that bar. That's what you need to do to feed your soul. Your soul longs for excellence. It doesn't matter if you're an underdog. In fact, it's a power position if you're an underdog. It's a power position if you've gone through garbage in your life before, because you overcoming that's going to make an impact in someone else's life. I want to just quickly kind of go through and kind of lead up to a point of probably the most important part, the most important place in my life to date, and what changed my life. There was a 10-minute film session one time that changed my life. And I'm going to just kind of warm up to that. A lot of you have heard our story. I played in the NFL for 6 years. But you know what? Nobody would have ever guessed that when I was in the 7th grade and I wasn't 100 pounds, okay? I was not LeBron James, where they were looking at me in the 10th grade and going, that guy's gonna go pro. They weren't saying that about me, by the way. I was a skinny little kid. You know those kids that are so thin that my knees were bigger than my calves and my thighs? You know what I mean? It's like, just big old knots for knees. I remember I lived in New York. I kind of, between 5 and 12 years old, I lived in a town outside of New Rochelle called Larchmont. And, spent some good years, and I was a good athlete when everybody was the same size. In fact, I was on an all-star team when I was 12 years old in this little town. And BJ Surhoff, Scott Lewis, what was his name? Scotty Laius, who played third base for the Twins, Surhoff, who played for the Brewers for a long time, and myself. Three of us that played professional athletics were on the same little all-star team in this town, which is crazy looking back at that. But, as these men started to grow, I did not. And in seventh grade, we moved to, my parents got divorced and I moved to Southern Oregon. And I got the last uniform on the football team. My mom said, you need to go out for football. I'm like, these guys are huge. They're going to crush me. And, they gave me the last uniform, and it was a uniform that the pants, they usually go down to the knees. Well, these went all the way down to my shoes. It was scary because I had this helmet that had a bar down the middle, and it was too big for me. They didn't fit you with helmets back in the day. It really didn't matter. It was just like this web of nylon inside. And I just remember I'm running, and I'm a pigeon-toed, skinny-legged, and I'm trying to run with these knee pads that are flopping on my feet, and I'm tripping over myself, and I'm going out for passes, and I turn around really quick, and it hits me in the head, the ball does, because my helmet squeezes over. I just remember running one time, and the coach goes, hey, Eaton, and I go like this, and then I have to move my helmet to talk to the coach. And I was a mess. I was a good basketball player, and I played basketball, but football, that was not my game. But I stuck with it, and I stuck with it. And I never was a starter at all going through that. I remember one time the fullback that we had on our team, I was on called the meat squad in the seventh grade, meaning I just got to play against all the starting guys. And this fullback ran me over one time, and I hung on to his shirt, and I hung on for like 60 yards. And I just was riding, and every once in a while his foot would come up and hit me in the jaw, and I just kept on popping up, and I just told myself, I was going, just let go, Tracy. Just let go. And I didn't let go. For some reason, I didn't let go. And I got to the end of that run, and he's like, have you been there the whole time? And I'm like, this is going to be a long life. If I can't quit, it's going to be a long life. Man, there's such a good lesson in that. Two ways that you raise the bar and you become excellent is you learn from your mistakes, and you can't be a quitter. And many of you quit things, and it's like turning an ankle, and you just keep on turning the ankle, and it gets easier and easier to quit things. Don't quit things that allow other people and that allow you to plant seeds that lift other people out of oppression. I really believe, you don't have to have my faith, but when you go to heaven, you're going to be fired up about the impact you've had in people's lives. And the mustard seed that you can plant in people's lives that can actually grow and impact generations in other people's family, let alone your own. And so here I am, seventh grade. And you know what? That was the whole way through until I was a senior in high school. And I finally was a starter as a senior in high school in football. And I'll tell you, I still didn't, I got my first hair in my armpit in my senior year. And I remember it because I saw it, and there was just one. And I remember just kind of putting my arm up all the time like this, and got me one now. I was such a little kid. It was silly. I was still thin, and I was probably 155 pounds my senior year. Started to grow, get a little bit taller. And I had a pretty good senior year. We were on a good team, and I could have played college basketball, very small level. But I decided that, what, I'm never going to be a basketball player, but I'm going to stick with football. I'm going to stick with this. And a Division II school, it's Division I now, but Division II school, Portland State University, offered me a scholarship. And so I went to Portland State University. And I remember being at Portland State, and I'm not just telling you my story to tell you my story. There's some little hints in this story here that I think everybody needs to hear because you can relate to it. I went to Portland State University. I was a freshman, 155 pounds. I was not playing. I was small. I mean, seriously, the first game that we had, I was a freshman sitting there, and there was a kickoff. And the first kickoff, we were playing Oregon State, which at the time was a Pac-10 school. We were Division II. It was going to be them killing us. Okay, it was just a money game is what it was. And so I remember sitting there on the sidelines in the first kickoff, one of our linebackers, and this collision was so huge, I couldn't even believe it. This linebacker had already had a knot on his head. Linebackers always have like crooked noses. They're just off. You know, they're like rugby players, you know, they're not, yeah, they just like to hit things all the time. But this guy had a knot on his head from training camp, and his helmet didn't even fit right. It fit sideways on his head. And I remember that hit and all the blood that popped out of that knot. And I was like, oh, God. And I'm a Christian today. I wasn't back then, but it's amazing how you start talking to God. And I remember talking to God going, God, I heard about this thing called a rapture. I'll come part way. I'll come part way. You take me the rest of the way. Just take me up. Lift me. Take me out of this. I don't want to be here. I'm a lover, not a fighter. My roommate that came up with me from Southern Oregon, he saw the same thing I saw. He quit. He quit that week. And I couldn't even imagine I couldn't imagine what I would have had to say to my parents just to blurt that out of my mouth that I'm a quitter. I don't know where I got that. I think you need to get the quit DNA out of you, get the quit gene out and erase it and get it out and quit even thinking about that. If you're going to quit something, quit meth. If you're going to quit something, you know what I mean? It's like, so here I am. And now my roommate leaves, who I was there with. He was my support. And I was in over my head. These were grown men with beards. Maybe I shaved once every 2 months, because I had 4 hairs that grew really long. I was like one of those samurai swordsmen that had 4 hairs hanging off. I remember, this might go longer, guys, but I remember lifting weights. I'd never really lifted weights before until I got into college. It was back in the day, right? We're back early 80s at this point. I remember they go, okay, we're doing maxes on bench press. And I've never done the bench press. And they're like, so what are you about? You put 225 pounds on there? I'm like, oh my God. Wait, do you think I'm an ant and I can lift 8 times my own weight? They're like, oh, you can do 225. We'll give you they go, do you want a spot? I'm like, yes, yes. And I remember putting that 225 pounds up there, and it was, I was like, there's no way in hell. I started bringing it down, and then I started looking like a chicken taking off for flight. I had every muscle. I was cramping in my toe, and I was like, how's this gonna work? And I was like, well, I've got a big chest. It's just all cavity. There's no muscle on it. I have a big chest, so I'm gonna bounce it. I'm gonna get some mighty momentum, and I'm gonna bounce it. And man, and oh my goodness, it just stopped. It stuck on me. It was like Velcro. Like, do you know those dolls that people have when they get like anxiety and stuff like that? You know those dolls that their eye pops out when you squeeze it? It's like the next week in class, I'm sitting sideways, because something's got to give. You know what I mean? It's like, that was my freshman year. Here's the thing. I want you to get this lesson, but But I started and I started lifting weights and I put 25s on each side and I started. Yeah, did people make fun of me? They were laughing like crazy at me. But you know what? I kept up and I started small and I started to get stronger and I started to get bigger and I started to join in and I came to every practice and I came early and I stayed late. And I stuck with it and I stuck with it. And I did the little things every single day. It's always the little things that are going to separate you. It's not at the huge event. This is important. This huge event should back you into the corner to do the little things every single day. That's always the separation. That's in the monotony, you're going to find the miracles. Yes? Okay. So I started to earn respect from the players, started to earn respect from the coaches. I wasn't as strong as everybody, but they knew that I was willing to work and be consistent at the little things. I put on some weight. I put on 10 more pounds. I went from 155 to 165, and I grew an inch or two. And you think, well, who cares about that? You're still tiny. You're still, it's nothing. I get it. But 10 pounds on me of muscle, I took off my shirt in the winter and I was just walking around like, like those guys who walk around like they can't fit in their lats. I can't imagine what I looked like at 165. My gosh, I had to look like an alien with just long arms where their shoulders look like they're out of, or their elbows look like they're out of joint, those guys. But I worked my butt off. And our free safety, that's what I played, our starting free safety, he graduated. And the start of my sophomore year, I was slated in to be the starter at Portland State University at Division II. And I was amazed. And here's where this is the important part of the story. This is the most important 10 to 20 minutes of my life. I was sitting there before the first game and we were playing this team. I can't remember the team we were playing, but we were watching some game film. And the team we were playing, since I'm on defense, I was watching the offense. But they were playing against a team. It was Cal Davis they were playing against. And Cal Davis had a free safety that played my position. And all of a sudden, I couldn't, and the whole team couldn't even watch the game anymore. All eyes were on this free safety. His name was Bo Eason. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Because his name is almost like my name. Eason and Eaton is just one letter off. And everybody was transfixed. You know why everybody turned their head away? Because this guy was playing the game like I've never seen before. He never took a play off. He went 100% on every play. He was off the ground like Superman, coming flying into piles, doing flips, going 100 miles an hour. And I was hearing guys, it was like a comic book. Boom, pow, wow. I was like, so that's what you guys respect? I saw 10 to 20 minutes of Bo Eason doing that, and I saw it, and I said, that's who I'm going to be right there. That's my identity. That's who I am. I'm going to play the game like that guy. That's what you respect? Yeah, and by the way, you can never turn your eyes away from excellence. You have to watch it. I don't care if it's a musical instrument. I don't care if it's an athlete. I don't care what it is. I get tears in my eyes when I hear amazing singers that are gifted or use their gift. It's amazing because you can't turn your eyes away from excellence because you long for it. You long to be excellent. You don't long for mediocrity. Your brain does, but you don't long for mediocrity. You want to take it easy, but that's not who you are anymore. That's not your identity. Your identity is one of excellence. That's what it is. And I changed my whole game right there. I was 165 pounds, but you couldn't have told me anything. I knocked out so many people that year because nobody expected it. I was, this is going to sound so cocky, but I was a beast in college. I had this tight end we played against, and the guy would end up going to the NFL. And this tight end, one of the guys on our team goes, that's a tight end on our team, going, hey, you got to knock this guy out this game. I'm like, they used to give me a list of people to knock out. They did. They'd make a list for me. And I go, you got it. He goes, I want to be first team, and this guy's going to be first team. You need to knock him out. And I'm like, well, done. This tight end comes across the middle. The quarterback throws the ball up over his head. And I hit that guy in the head so hard that I think his parents still hurt today. I knocked him out. He was asleep on the field, sucking his thumb. Our cornerback that was guarding him, I knocked him out too. And I knocked myself out. That was a threefer. You don't see that too often. It's a proud moment in my life. There was 3 people at one time. All had to go off the field at that mark. But not to pretend to be cocky. That game film changed everything. That's the way I played. And then my coaches started to use my highlight film and send it across the nation. And we recruited players in. And by my senior year at Portland State University, we went to the national championship game for Division II because the coaches sent this out going, this is who we are. This is our brand. This is our culture. That's what you're doing right now. You're creating your brand. You're creating your culture. One of servant leadership. I don't want you knocking people out. I don't want that as your culture. I want you, I was going to say knocking people up, but I don't want you to do that either. But lifting people up. Don't knock people up. And I kept that up all through. And I'm a Division II player. I'm sitting there going to class my senior year. At the end of my senior year, I'm going to class. I walk out, and all of a sudden, I get a phone call. This is before the internet, and the phone call, and it's a guy named Jerry Glanville, who's the coach of the Houston Oilers at the time, who's now the Tennessee Titans. And he goes, "Boy," and I said, "Yes, sir." He said, you're gonna hit people like I saw you hit people on film?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "We just drafted you in the 7th round in the NFL draft." And I never expected to be drafted in the NFL, not a Division II player. That's never gonna happen. I was a whopping 185. I'm still not that big. I remember a scout coming in early on when I was a sophomore, still 165 and knocking people out. And the scout came in and talked to our trainer and said, "Where's that beast? Tracy Eaton." He's like, "Beast? He's walking out of the shower right now." And I'd walk out and he's like, "There's no way that's Tracy Eaton. I'm looking for Tarzan. That looks like Jane." And I had nice legs because there wasn't a lot of hair on them, you know. You know why Houston drafted me is because they just got rid of one of their safeties. They traded him to San Francisco because he started to hurt his knee and it was starting to get injured a little bit. And that free safety that I replaced in Houston, his name was Bo Eason. To think about how all this stuff works out. Now, I know I was just placed in a position that this is totally out of my comfort zone. So is going to the NFL. So is being in high school. So is being in college when I'm young. Everything's been out of my comfort zone. I've just got to tell you, that's where adventure and wonder happens. And if you are comfortable, I'm telling you, it's a casket. Get out. Start getting out of your comfort zone. Start only being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And played, so why did that change, that game film change my life? Well, I played 6 years in the NFL. I went to Arizona. After 2 years in Houston, I went to Arizona. And then after Arizona, I played 3 years for the Atlanta Falcons. Did it change my life there? I think it changed my life there. You know what it did? It gave me the recipe for success. And the recipe is you show up all the time. You show up whether you're hurt or not. You show up because other people are depending on you. This is a team. We need to be a team. We got your back. We're investing our time. We're investing our money. We're investing gas in our car, plane flights to go find winners and champions that want to rise out of this oppression that's going on. And there is so much oppression, but inflation is affecting people. Taxes are affecting people. People are feeling like there's a thumb on them, like there's no hope. We're not taught this in school. People grow. We're helping people get out of that inflation thumb, of the tax thumb, of all that, and go and create your own economy, the economy that you want, the things that you want to accomplish. Let's go build something. One of the greatest things in the world you'll do for your kids is build them something. It's not be at every practice. Let's build things. And the best, greatest thing to build is people. That's the greatest thing to build. So I went to Arizona. You know what I found? I found her. Does that change my life? Did that 20 minutes of game film change my life? And by the way, she's a power player. She's the gel in our business. She's with me almost every step of the way. She doesn't miss things. She is there by my side. She does plans. When I couldn't, she is there. We're doing this together. We have a common vision, not a division. We have a dream together, and we're showing our children and we're showing other people that she needs to look at me and I need to look at her when we're around other people. So people look at that and go, so that's what it looks like. That's what a marriage looks like. That's what somebody that is working together, building something together looks like. Does that make sense to you? She's the gel that puts our business together. Oh, I'm just a face. She does all the work back there. I mean, she's really amazing. I have 4 children. We got to adopt little Mariah. A lot of you have heard that story. You know, my wife adopted her, and then she spent her time driving home trying to figure out how to tell me she just adopted someone. That's my wife for you right there. It's like, okay, that's a quick version of the story. And just, continue to go further. This is why we can do what we do today. This is why, the recipe that I've had success in that athletic world. And again, out of my comfort zone for 6 years, I could have been cut for 6 years in a row. I mean, at any day I could have been cut. It is a pressure, but I found out that pressure is a privilege. It's not something you skirt away from. It's something that grows you. It's something that builds your muscle. It's something where you take responsibility for your own life. This is going to be the greatest era that we see in this business. I really believe that. The world's looking for us, and I believe we're the last knot in the rope of a true free enterprise business. And there may be some headwinds, and you might have some people in your life that are negative, and you need to learn how to have a chip in your shoulder, because not everybody believed I was going to be in the NFL either, and I used that to go build myself. You need to back yourself into a corner. You need to have that chip, because that chip works. Like Kimberly said, I had a list of people that I was going to kill because I was tired of them just giving negativity. But they were under the wood chipper because they angered me so much. But then I decided I was just going to send them a card and thank them because they motivated me. Because I don't know, I find that winners and champions and people of excellence always like to prove people wrong. Yes? Hey guys, I'm not here to play life. I'm here to take ground. Are you here to take ground and take dominion and get back the land that was promised you and start getting back and start doing hard things? You know why we are where we are? Because we do hard things, because that's who we are. That's our identity. I want you to play to your identity. If you don't know what your identity is, then start hanging out with people that have great lives and have a strong identity, and start acting on that identity. Vote for yourself that you do hard things. You know what? I do that. Have you ever done a cold plunge? I remember doing I did that cold plunge. I was doing it 3 times a week this winter. It'd be snowing outside. We were at our property on a river. The river was 43 degrees. It was 32 and snowing, and I'm sitting in the river for 3 minutes. And my wife, and I'm like, Kimberly, come with me. She goes, okay. And then I jump in. She goes, nope. That's all okay. I'll do it. I'll do the hard thing. You got to get a vote for yourself. You have to vote for yourself for that identity. Do you do hard things? Do you go the extra mile? Do you serve people? Are you consistent? Do you do the little things? Do you have those habits and those consistent little habits that keep proving to yourself that you follow through, that you're a winner, that you're a champion, that you're going to win every single day? It's the wins every single day that you decide to make. So somebody got out, they get in, they get out, they get in. But the first thing that has to happen is you got to learn how to trust yourself before other people trust you. And you've got to commit and follow through and do those little things. Get that quit gene out and let's go out there and change the world together. Because we will together, if we join up and have each other's back, then we're going to change the world together. And this is the greatest place to do it, to lift people out of where they want to be. You got that? Are you with us? Who's it going to be? Who am I going to know? Who's going to be? Who's going to have my back? Is it you? Which one are you? Seriously. Are you the one we're going to count on? Are you going to finish what you started? You got everything you need. Let's go finish. We'll talk to you guys soon.
This is a copyrighted program of The Collective, powered by Markerman Productions, affiliated with Markernet Incorporated. Duplication of this program is strictly prohibited. While the techniques and approaches suggested have worked for others, no one can guarantee that these techniques and approaches will work for you. In addition, we want to emphasize that success in this business